Make sure I got sound. Test. Gotta get there for the delay. 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 Cool. Gotta get there for the delay. Gotta get there for the delay. Yeah. Whoopsies. Alright, let's take this off. Alright. I'm not gonna try to waste too much time before I get into the topic I want to talk about while I do this shit. It's one of those instances where I came across a video and I was listening to it while I'm at the day job, you know, getting work done, and then like almost made me stop everything that I had planned afterwards to write up a script, which I pretty much did. Well, I did bullet points, so that's what I rely on. I'm gonna rely on my bullet points for this topic here. This is generally a response to Soft White Underbelly. I mean, so far I like what they've been doing. I mean, overall, like I get they're not like selling themselves as someone that like challenges or you know, both sides of some like ideology. They're just there to get people's experiences and stories. But this one particular individual that they had on there just really fucking, you know, got my goat. Mainly because he was just parodying a bunch of shitty talking points that I've heard way too many fucking times. And I'll get into the details in a moment here. Gotta get ready for stuff. Alright, since I know I got sound, I got audio. Right. The music's not overwhelming it. Since I know I got sound, I got audio. Let's turn it down more. Music's not overwhelming it. Since I know I got sound, I got audio. There. Let it be really quiet background music. It's more for my sake, if anything. Alright. Where to begin? Alright, so Soft White Underbelly, if you haven't seen that channel, it's pretty interesting. There's some really hard listens or watches on there when it comes to some of the subjects they have on that in interviews. Because we're talking about people who've experienced addiction, sexual and physical abuse. But a couple months ago, or a month ago I think it was, they had this person on there. I'm just going to call him... well, his name is Agent Chris. He used to be an agent for the adult film industry or adult model industry, porn industry, whatever. And he just said a bunch of shit that just kind of like got my goat, because he was repeating a lot of talking points that I'm just sick of hearing when it comes to porn, you know, feminism. Even unironically promoted Jordan Peterson as like a response to the suffering of men. This is fucking hilarious. Alright, where is it here? There we are. So, you know, nothing against Agent. I was going to call him Agent for this entire thing. So nothing against Agent personally, in the sense where he is right now. He is working in the real estate industry, so who knows what suffering and detriment he's causing in that realm. But you know, he's married, has a daughter now, he's a family man. So you know, good for him. Good for him being able to improve himself. Probably ashamed of how he got there, which is probably why he's now had his come to Jesus moment and sounds like a Christian, is a Christian. Now, right off the bat, gotta get all out of the way, all the things he got right. You know, the industry, the porn industry especially, is full of predatory practices, exploitation, things of that nature, yes. I mean, that goes without saying, I think, for anyone who's mildly aware of it. Thing that got me though. All right, you know what? I can't take this music. There. The thing that got me though is just him talking about, for instance, banning porn. Like, if you think the industry's bad right now in exploitation, what do you think is going to happen when you make a black market out of it? I don't even have to look up what countries have the least amount of rapes, because I'm pretty sure the ones that have the most amount of rapes are the ones that ban porn. It just seems like a no-brainer, but a lot of people buy into that shit. The other thing that came up with him, where are my pen nibs? I need that real quick. The other thing that came up with him though that was really annoying was the idea that there's a bunch of feminists selling the idea that joining OnlyFans is somehow liberating in itself, and that they're being sold the idea of being on OnlyFans is going to like make you freer and fulfilled as a person. And it's like, no one ever said that. The only ones that seem to be saying that are the ones that are in favor of trying to ban it when it comes to OnlyFans or porn. The only thing anyone would say that's an activist is that sex work is work and it deserves the same kind of dignity as any other work does. And it shouldn't come with the shame. And that goes into the other topic he was talking about, that we need to bring back shame. We're in the most promiscuous time, he said, which we know is fucking bullshit. And then we need to shame people more. Like, that's how you get fucking these weirdos that stalk people and rape. Where the hell are my goddamn pen nibs? Oh, here they are. Yeah, let's just make more of an environment where people hide away their sexual proclivities. Am I saying that right? And of course, this guy goes on about how he worked this industry that exploits women mainly, and men too, just at a lesser degree because they have more ways out. And he talks about how he had a change of heart when he had his daughter and got his wife. And it's like, well, yeah, now that you got yours, right? Fuck everyone else. I like one of his stories. He talks about how this one woman was practically a millionaire doing sex work. Had to keep her money, though, in like a mattress. Had no way to put it in a bank account because it was illegitimate, according to the government. And he just uses that as like a case against sex work in general. And it's like, man, if only it was like legalized and dignified, she would have had a way to store that money, and she wouldn't be homeless, according to you. And you know, you wonder too, like he's having this whole come to Jesus moment, saying that sex is like creating a hole in your spirit that you're lacking spiritually, and that's why you seek out sex work or, you know, promiscuity or drugs. And that leans into the thing that really kind of pisses me off. It's like the worst kinds of people seem the ones that have the most dedicated come to Jesus moments. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if we hear like Neil Gaiman is like a Christian author 10 years from now or some shit. Oh yes, I did some terrible things to those young women, but then I had my come to Jesus moment. I don't know how the fuck how he sounds. I just wouldn't be surprised. Like, Russell Brand was an actor who preemptively started being a right-wing grifter and coming out as a Christian like weeks before he got accused of being a sexual assaulter. And so that's why I think what's going on with this agent guy. Hey, Dalen. You know, I'm all for like the age verification for people who will upload sexual content of themselves. I mean, that makes sense to me. But the whole idea of like trying to like sell the idea that you're going to protect kids by forcing everyone to try to identify themselves when you go on websites like that, no, it's up to the parents to keep their kids locked down from accessing things like that. You know, that's how they sell it, but it's always just about collecting your data and surveilling people. Though on the flip side, it would be amazing how many of these anti-trans politicians and transphobes would be outing themselves once they have to put in an ID on a porn website. Considering trans porn is like one of the highest searches in all these anti-trans states. You know, shame is when he talks and he talks about shaming people, bringing back shame. And the thing is like shame is how you make it worse. Shame, if anything, is how you get like these people that you supposedly are against, these gooners online that just do nothing but watch anime porn all the time. Because it turns out when you try to shame someone out of something, they end up thinking about it more, and it creates a doom loop. Don't think about ice cream. If you think about ice cream, you're going to go to hell. Oh, you thought about ice cream. That's the G-rated version of it. And I'll switch over and check chat here. Nah, not talking about the Epstein files. Epstein files are its own thing. It's amazing how they haven't released the fully unredacted version of that. But now it's back to Agent Chris for the moment here. Now, because I'm also, and the other thing that pissed me off too is like I'm tired of people like him acting like people like me don't exist. Like people like me and my family and friends just don't exist. In his little narrative that he tries to promote. Now, like me and my friends, not all of them, some of them, you know, we hang out, we get together, we have hookups, sometimes at parties, sometimes at our house, very casual. And some people that I know will post porn of themselves for fun on the internet, on either Pornhub or whatever website allows it. And this guy's going to tell me that they're like spiritually, I don't know, spiritually dead and they have a hole in their heart or some shit. Like, give me a fucking break. This is how I know, like, it doesn't matter how successful or successful my life is overall. You know, if something goes wrong, like I have a medical incident that's out of my control, it wouldn't matter how it happens, or like a car accident, he'd just be like, oh, yep, yep. It's because he was indulging in those bad things on the internet with consensual adults. And yeah, back to the other thing he was mentioning about how like OnlyFans is being sold to people as like some liberating feminist things. Like no one ever said that ever, other than conservatives trying to trying to undermine efforts to make sex work be seen as actual sex work, as actual work. Because it turns out when you get rid of the shame of it and you regulate it more and you legalize some of the things that are considered illegal currently still in this country for some reason, it offers the window of protection. You know, you don't have to keep your money in a mattress. You can actually put it in a bank account, unlike that woman he mentions in that story. So you don't lose it all or have it stolen. And I just figured, you know, or like, you know, going back to the whole shame thing, when like I had a regular internet connection. Yeah, the thing that made the porn interest worse as a horny teenager and as a young adult was just trying to shame myself out of it. Ironically, when I got over that and just like I'm done hating myself for whatever reason, doesn't matter. It's like, wow, all of a sudden, like, I feel less of a need to look it up because I'm not thinking about it as much. Or like when I had, sex with my first girlfriend when I was 19. I was like, oh, boo hoo, I had sex before marriage. Boo hoo hoo. This is wrong. And then, later that day I would have sex again. And it's like, oh no, what am I doing? Oh no. 3 times a day. 3 times today. So much time and energy wasted on that. It's no wonder why you get like these older, bitter adults that want to ban it all. It's like, well, I never enjoyed it, therefore no one else can enjoy it. Or they get jealous of the fact that people can enjoy it without guilt or participate in it in a way that does feel fulfilling to them. Especially if they're in like a place, because like a lot of my friends, they have lucrative careers, and once in a while they get together with their friends and they fuck, and they'll share pictures and videos of themselves in various ways, various sites, and all is well. You do it responsibly, of course. You get tested, condoms when necessary and called for. Respect each other when it comes to boundaries and consent and all that. But Agent Chris here, I mean, that's his name, Chris. He's just trying to go with this narrative of like everyone who participates is somehow like mentally dead or damaged or whatever. I just hate it. It's an interesting interview. It just goes off the rails after 20 minutes. I wish the interviewer could like challenge him on some of those claims, but I know that's not what the premise of that channel is. Soft White Underbelly. It's just to get people's personal stories. So this is my way of responding to it with not just a comment, but or a video that would take away from my time doing this here. So I just wanted to say something about it in a public fashion, and something that might get more attention than just a comment online. Also, I thought this would be a good way to practice to doing things off the cuff because, like I said, I don't want to distract anymore from major projects I want to get done. And this is the only way I'm going to be able to like express myself, maybe give some attention to the channel, and keep projects from taking several years longer than they should. So I think I pretty much covered everything I wanted to say about it. These other topics that come up, like, just the thought of the afterlife, like realizing there's no one that knows what the afterlife is. That was more motivating to me in eliminating my fear of death than any kind of like Christian belief ever was. Like I never feared death more when I was a Christian, because you never know, that one bad thought and then you're dead, and it's like, oh, too late to forgive yourself through Jesus. Yeah, speaking of forgiveness too, I bet that guy feels good being part of Jesus now. He can just forgive all his wrongdoings without having to actually like rectify any of the people he exploited while he was in that adult industry. And don't worry, we'll get into the Epstein files in a minute here, because that was interesting. I have to admit that was. We've been saying here. There might be some crazy stuff because of what Epstein did. Oh, yeah. Now, a few things about the Epstein files I've been informed by like other people that are a little more qualified than me, like Kyle Kalinske, is that a lot of it was like redacted in a way to make things look worse than they were. Like files that were released almost a decade ago, like the Michael Jackson with his kids there. And the thing is like he was also a broker. And not to defend Michael Jackson or anyone else that's there, is that he was also like a high-end broker, so there are going to be a lot of people there that just deal with him, not necessarily go to his island or parties, unlike Bill Clinton did, obviously, and Trump. multiple times. And it's funny to me too, like how they try to hide some of all the Trump stuff, but they ended up accidentally slipping some things out anyways. So that to me is hilarious. It's like, man, just the incompetence at hand. Even when you're trying to like hide the facts and denounce it all as a conspiracy, you still fuck it up. I know Trump recently had to drop a lawsuit because they were requiring him to submit some paperwork in regards to his mental health, and he refused, and so they defaulted to judgment against him. And yeah, I mean, people keep saying like the MAGA movement's done, and MAGA movement's over, and it's like I've been hearing that for forever now. So you know what? It's not over until it's over, right? They're gonna keep on it. It's gonna be this way for the next 3.5 years, whatever's left. Oh yeah, speaking of like sexual exploitation too, this kind of leans more back into that underbelly video. The guy's talking about how like the companies are against age verification. He's like, oh yeah, they want the kids to get on those porn sites. It's like they don't have fucking money. They don't have money, and if you wanted to really like protect kids when it comes to exploitation, you start age verifying and IDing people on Roblox and Facebook, because that's where the primary source of your exploitation is coming from. No, I mean, regardless, I am all for like people who want to post on those sites. If they want to post actual content, they have to actually verify an ID of some sort. And yeah, I get it. You can make fake IDs and shit, but at least something there when it comes to posting. Because it's not just because they can get themselves in trouble. Some kid can get themselves in trouble. They start posting shit like that, even if it's not them or whatever. And that can create its own little, rabbit hole of parents' worst nightmare. But like I said, like most of that shit seems to be happening on like Roblox and stuff and Facebook and social media. Places they like to pretend it's not. It's time to do some striped flannel. Stripe a little flannels. I just realized something here. Open it, fuck it up. I really need to keep up on my reference here. No. Yeah, striped flannel. It's all, gonna be wrinkled up here. It's kind of folded up. Yeah, so far I've gotten compliments from the commissioner on this, so all is well. Shade that in there. He has an undershirt. And also the double standard too. The double standard with all this shit is really fucking pissing me off too. The whole joke of it's only grooming if it's gay. Like they're making excuses up and fucking down for fucking Trump saying like, oh no, he just liked them barely legal. Yeah, that's it. He liked them barely legal. He wasn't really a pedo. He's just like some barely legal. It's like, okay, sure. Yeah. I as a fucking hypothetical parent is going to really let a fucking like 50-year-old plus fucking man near my 18-year-old daughter, knowing how easy and manipulative a person can be at that young age, whether you're a man or woman, or identify as such, I should say, because fuck the binary. Abolish the binary. Like, give me a fucking break. That's the other reason I'm kind of like fuck you to that to Agent from Soft White Underbelly in that interview, because it's like, yeah, and now that you have a daughter and you can finally like have some empathy for the various clients you've had. Now all of a sudden, oh yeah, now you care. Now you care. Now you have your come to Jesus moment because you can't take responsibility for your actions because that might be you being held accountable for something. So you go to Jesus, get your forgiveness, and then go into real estate too. Not that there's anything wrong with real estate in itself, but I don't know, man. Just the sleaze, the sleaze in that interview coming off that guy. I can only imagine when it comes to his wheelings and dealings in the real estate market. I know there's a lot of bots online too. Speaking of exploitation, we just go back and forth between him and Epstein, huh? They're pretty much the same. In my opinion, allegedly. Don't sue me, agent. Don't sue me, agent. What was I gonna say? I lost my train of thought there. I'll get it back in a minute. I just wanted to get that out there. It's just like there's plenty of people I know that casually engage in sex and share stuff online, and they have lucrative careers, side gigs, or whatever the fuck. Not all of them are desperately trying to get that OnlyFans money or porn money. And it shouldn't be something shamed about. Like I have a friend who's like, it kind of made me sad because he said if people found out that I was a furry, I would have to resign my position immediately if I became like publicly known. And it's like, fucking why? Like your business, you think like clients would just up and leave? It's like you're not doing anything that's like all in all unethical. Speaking of unethical, it's okay for kids to be exploited on YouTube here. Speaking of which, I'm gonna mention it here, but there's a documentary on Netflix. It's called like The Dark Side of Influencing, something of that nature. And it features this like house of influencers, of like young teenager influencers with this one mom that's pulling all the strings, creating fake drama between the kids of like breakups and friendships, doing all this weird shit, creating drama in their lives that's not needed at their young age, playing with their emotions and feelings. And on top of that, she has clients and fans that give them money and support, and as like sort of like a payment or as a perk, she mails out the panties to these adult male fans of theirs. And we're talking like a mom running an influencer house full of teenager girls and boys, and she's selling off her daughter's panties to some freak. And people have the gall to say the shit that I'm into and what I'm doing is a fucking problem. Give me a fucking break. So yeah, there's comments all over that fucking video too. The Soft White Underbelly interview, praising this guy, championing him, and defending men. It's like, I get it. The adult industry is full of exploitation, and that's kind of the liberating thing of OnlyFans is that you can eliminate that shit. And he even said that gave him like showed him the writing was on the wall for his program, his company that he was part of. So he left and got into real estate, and partly because of his wife and his daughter. So when anyone talks about like liberating or freeing, it's not just the fucking act itself. It's just that it should be considered and labeled as work, as legitimate work. And here's the kicker thing too. For instance, you had a teacher who got her teaching career started, and she got fired because she had an OnlyFans before, in the past. Someone found some gooner parent came across her profile on OnlyFans. Is like, wait a minute, that's my son's teacher. Oh, probably after his good nut, has some guilt, and decided he's going to act on that. Because like, how else are you going to find it, right? Probably looking up like fucking teacher porn or some shit, and he came across it. You have to actually actively search for it. Otherwise, like, what kind of weirdo purposely looks up OnlyFans accounts so they can try to harass them in real life? Like, that's the only other alternative, right? They're all against people doing porn as work, but then they go ahead and try to create the conditions so that's the only thing they can do. It's one of those things that doesn't make any fucking sense. And the guy agent saying like we should just ban porn entirely. He's like, if I was dictator, I'd ban porn tomorrow. I was like, oh man, you think the exploitation's bad now? Wait till you ban it. You fucking nut. When it's just a black market, yeah, give me a fucking break. And you really see a lot of people getting just taken off the fucking street when there's no protection, no legitimate way to like come forward and protect your money if you make any money in it as a worker and as the exploiter, like that agent was. Let's not forget he was the one that exploiting these women and shit in his industry. And maybe to his credit, it is just his story, but he did say he was warning people like, hey, you're likely not going to make any money in here overall. And there's very few people that make good money. And even then, it's a short lifespan. You got to have, should probably have some other skills, other interests. And he also admits that like a lot of the people that would come to his industry would be from like broken homes or, suffered abuse. It's like, yeah, it's almost like we should have some kind of social safety net for such people and protections for people in an industry that makes fucking billions of dollars. Give these people some fucking rights. Whether they're an escort, OnlyFans model, Twitch titty streamer. Instead of trying to shame them, like, oh yeah, that'll get them, going. Oh yeah, shame them out of it, and they'll go into like Applebee's or something and work 3 jobs, like one woman I met was doing. She was working 3 restaurant jobs. She was working at the Steak and Shake we were at. She said she had one at Applebee's later, and she had like another restaurant job that same week, like three, fucking three part-time positions, making because of the fucking tip system too, probably making like $3 or $4 an hour in a major metropolitan area, so the shit's a little more expensive than it would be in other areas. They're less dense. But yeah, that if you ever come across that talk of like, oh yeah, feminists are selling the idea that OnlyFans is liberating and it's going to free up women and make you fulfilled, it's like no one's selling it that way. There's out to try to make get sex work recognized as legitimate work. And I know people who are getting in higher positions that do like swinger parties and shit. Do they have a hole in their spirit, according to this guy? Like no one's forcing you to do shit. At the same time, you can't sit there and act like having a little fun on the weekend is by default damaging in some way. Yeah, it's only damaging if there's not agreements and communication involved, or it's so shamed it has to go into the underground. And that's when you get the real cases of like exploitation and consent issues. It's when you try to shame it. It's when you get freaks. Like even like the most extreme cases like Jeffrey Dahmer. What was his life like on top of just murdering and eating people? He was also, his journals were full of like hating himself, depression, hated that he was gay, he wanted to make like a gay zombie so he would just have sex with it and not have to deal with the shame and hating himself for it. I thought it's probably why he was so much of an unachiever in school, because he just kept constantly thinking about it, kept trying to shame himself out of it, and then it evolved into something deranged. Or even a less extreme case. I was watching this documentary. It's just called R. Crumb. It's about R. Crumb, the artist, underground comic artist, big in the 70s, as big as he could be an underground comic artist. He's famous for Fritz the Cat and the phrase "keep on trucking." Is on a lot of t-shirts and shit. His brother, his older brother, was also an artist. It's kind of what inspired him. And in that documentary, like near the end of it, well, in the beginning, let's go to the beginning. So R. Crumb and his brother would play these games around the show or movie they liked called Treasure Island. This guy was like an adult in the 70s, so this goes way back. And later in the end of the documentary, you find out like the reason why his older brother liked playing Treasure Island so much and doing like these imaginative games and stuff, pirates and treasure hunting, was because he was in love with the male character that was in Treasure Island, and not in like a pedophilic sense because they were kids at the time, but just like in a gay attraction for him as a kid. And it's like, oh shit, his older brother was gay. Now the thing is that his older brother didn't have much of a successful career. If anything, he was living with his mother still. Probably 20 years older than I am at the time. Looked like he was in his 50s. A failure to launch. Had no like prestige at all in terms of like artwork. Who knows what his job was? Probably just like simple retail janitorial work for all I know. I don't remember if they mentioned his job. I don't remember it. But the point is, he never had he wasn't in any relationship. Never had any like girlfriends or even boyfriends. He mentioned. And here he is as like a middle-aged adult, living with his mother still. And it clicked to me. It's like, holy shit, he was just really ashamed that he had these like attractions to the same sex to the point where it became like his whole world. And that is something I can actually relate to. Because like my stagnation as like as growing as a teenager, like a lot of it came from the fucking shame of just sexual fantasies and shit. And it also came from the idea that the world was going to end someday. Like why bother doing anything beyond the bare minimum if the whole world is going to end, right? If Jesus is going to come back, fuck it. Just do your basic shit. Take the job that you hate. Take the career path you're not interested in, but you know it's going to be viable because your dad did it. You know, marry the first woman you can manage to get along with to a degree, to a reasonable degree, I guess. Marry them and have kids and just follow that basic expectation of you. That was like in my mindset for a long time, and I just played a lot of video games, fantasize about a lot of things, wasted time hating myself for it. And that went on until my younger 20s. And that's why I always have like a fucking like anti-theist stance, because I can only think of like all those hours spent shamefully indulging in my desires because like the shame is what drove it. I can only think like how much more I could have done in improving my skill, jockeying myself in a good position in terms of a career in this field, or just going on my own path and get my own shit published a lot sooner than it is going to be now. But I could just sit there and be in self pity and like, woe is me. Or I can just suck it up and continue to improve as of now, not let anything slow me down. Not self doubt, not any mistakes I make. Take criticism to heart whenever it comes up. That's how I got better at editing. The learning never stops. That's how I got better at art. That's how I got better at design. Like when it came to like the thumbnails I was working on for Deep Fat Fried, when they had their clips channel before it got deleted. They had a whole document written up for me of critiques of like how to improve the layouts and the designs. And so yeah, I told them I'd take it to heart, and all I needed was that little nudge, and boom. He even said he was impressed like how much of an improvement I already made than like the next one. And so that's why I went. That's how I do. Just try to make myself as irreplaceable as possible, even to myself, if that makes sense. Just continue to notice some improvements, so I keep on it. And I think I've done pretty good so far. I think I'm even improving on the live streams here, making something actually like viable and listenable. Maybe someone can take some clips, take it out of context and make it into some kind of meme. And people would be like, "Oh, can you believe what he said?" And I could be like, "No, they took it out of context. This is what I really said. This is what I was saying in reference to." And it's like, "Oh no, we don't believe you." And it's like, "Oh no, my channel is it's so much more popular now." That's what I need. I need some popular YouTuber who takes onus to what some of the things I said and just starts like picking them apart. And then, I'll have that Howard Stern effect. A bunch of people come on here and like, oh man, I can't wait to hear what he says next. So I try to be honest and open with like as much as I feel comfortable with. And again, that just goes back to R. Crumb. He's kind of my inspiration for that because he's just like, he's like, here I am. I'm a pervert. And, he managed to have a wife and a daughter, and they retired out in France. You probably won't even hear anything if he dies. Just like Bill Watterson, probably won't hear much of anything if he passes away. I know he's gotta be in his 80s now at this point, or 70s, late 70s. Oh yeah, and him and his wife, they would have like affairs, not like behind each other's backs, but they would have like love affairs and with other people and stuff and hookups. But again, I guess they're just spiritually unfulfilled being together all those years and their lives and making comics and stories together. Yeah, this is coming together pretty good. So the thing that makes me nervous about this piece is figuring out where all the blacks are going to be because it's at night. So you can imagine there's a lot of spots, even with the fireworks going off, there's going to be a lot of spots where it's just completely blacked out. And that's my challenge, is figuring out where to put those. Because unlike a computer, you can't just undo it, right? You have to kind of know for certain where it's going to go. And that's kind of the advantage you get working traditionally, I think, is because you don't have to spend as much time fiddling around with shit. You just make a decision and go with it, and it's there. And that translates to digital because you do it right the first time. You don't have to keep reproducing it, erasing it. You already figured that shit out on your own. Doing it traditionally, you can't afford as much in terms of like mistakes and errors. Like I'm trying to picture right now, like where all the light's going to be. Like some of it's going to be reflected on his face. On his neck here, the fireworks are going off in the background. Like there should be like a hard shadow on this guy's hand or paw, whatever. But you should be able to see that it's still a hand and all that. It shouldn't just be like a big black blob. It would be like light reflecting off the water back onto his hands here, on his ears. My theory is that I'm going to color it, and then I color it to normal colors, and then I'm going to go over with the firework colors, and that'll be the way I blend in, like give it like a shade of red or blue or whatever I feel. I think it'll probably red. I mean, you got a passionate scene here of a proposal going on. Only makes sense. That would be red. The color of love. And like, getting back to on topic though, when it comes to like shaming yourself or your sexuality or proclivities or kinks or whatever the fuck, I at this point, like I look back at some people I know or knew, and it's like I see myself in them. I see the possibilities of what could happen if I didn't have the right friends at the time, if I didn't have the support, or if I didn't get over it. Yeah, I see it. I see it in older people even too. My of coworkers and peers. It's like, man, yep, that could have been me. Just like really shy, challenge averse, risk averse. Yeah, I've worked with people who were. I went to I have to probably fix this guy's face up a little bit. I'm not feeling this as much as I am with the dragon here. Probably work it back a little bit. In fact, I'll probably pull out the smaller one and get into some more tiny details. I can work it back with both the watercolor and the color pencil and stuff. But yeah, I definitely need to get some shade in the hooves. What was I talking about? There we go. Yeah. And I'll be shaded in up until like the tops. This up here, that's where all the light's going to be. Here be like in the back. Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. The pass not taken. Like I had to be pushed. I had to be pushed to go out and be socialized with other people in my high school years, even in some of my adult years. Some of the things you learn in high school, you're supposed to learn in high school, I ended up having to learn real fast in my early 20s. In terms of like relationships and friendships and stuff. Gossiping and participating in rumors or whatever. Learn that shit real fast, not to partake. Luckily, I had no like trolling campaigns behind my belt or anything like that. I was aware of some, so I guess not saying anything about it. It's pretty much the same as letting it happen, whatever. Not a proud moment, I guess. But no one died from it. For what it's worth, I managed to keep I managed to keep my reputation and name pretty solid. I never had to change names or personas or whatever the fuck. A lot of other furries have to feel the need to do. Now, it's not always in their control either. Sometimes it's for bullshit. So let's be clear on that. But overall, I've just been lucky. Been lucky. Yeah, I didn't have to face any. I don't know, false narratives. The pointer just got away from me or whatever. But yeah, like, oh yeah, like one of the people I worked with, everyone just got the impression he's pretty much, he was gay. And it's just, and it just seems like another one of those cases where it's like, this guy lives with his mom still, hasn't like dated anyone. He could be asexual, maybe, but chances are, he's probably just queer. Make it, make every excuse you can in the book to avoid having to interact in dating situations or be put on the spot where you have to perform. Yeah, I need to lighten up some of this here. Roll that back before we color it. Let it dry first, though. I have to watch some more tutorials though to figure out my the best approach for this. Doing fireworks. The subject matter. All right. Feeling it right now. That needs to well, finish that. Let's finish that box. Let's get some markings on that box. There we go. Get a little shadow on there. Blue jeans, thicken up this outside line. Yeah, so well, I think I got what I wanted to say about that topic, adult agent. And I didn't have to, take away time spent on another bigger project to talk about it. Yeah, I think I'll go with this route for a bit, see how it works. All right. Let's see. Yeah, I'll probably work back some of his. In fact, I want to shade in the areas I know I want shaded in terms of his limbs here. And I'll go back and work back the areas I want to work back. I got a little too crazy with trying to dot in the fur and fuzz and stuff. It's like this area here could be lightened up a little bit. Get rid of some of these spots and stuff. And then as we move into the background, it's going to be a lot less detail. So it's going to be pretty much just like straight up lines, indicate the buildings and stuff. Maybe like little rectangles here and there to indicate the windows. But definitely got some tutorials to look over and stuff when it comes to doing the fireworks display and drawing out the city. I just gotta lay out those inks first. And so another figure done. It's 2 down. Next up, we gotta do the nightmare of working out the background. Like, I don't want to work on erasing any of the pencil really until I get most of this laid out. I have to decide if I want to do the background more with like a brush or the ink pens. So I want to be able to have that acrylic ink on there because it's able to withstand the watercolor. You know, the markers are waterproof too that I use, but it's less of a layer than it is for like the acrylic ink, I've noticed. And so like a lot of it will get lost just laying down a thick watercolor on it. I understand that's why people will just scan in the line work and go digital, but I want to be able to do a decent job coloring it without needing electricity. All right. I think that's all I got today. That's all I got in me. In terms of talking, at least. Oh, what else? Yeah, that's pretty much covering it. What time is it? About 9. 9. I take a quick break, start working on the next commission I have. So I can take a break on this art piece to work on another art piece. And that's how I end up getting more shit done. But yeah, currently I don't have much else to talk about, so I'm going to call it for now. See you tomorrow. Set it aside. Anything. You're looking to how to propose my book to a publisher. That's what I'll do right now. God. Getting swamp ass sitting on a stool. Yeah, I know my mic is still on. It's the commentary on the way out. Progress photo.